Right off the bat, what Peter says here is a couple things. Number one, he says, none of this was done in secret. You guys saw this. You know that Jesus lived and that he was actually performing wonders and miracles, which, by the way, is not just something that the Bible attests. Let me give you this, okay? There are at least 4 sources outside of the Bible from ancient antiquity that affirm all of this. 2 Roman sources, a guy by the name of Tacitus and Suetonius, who write down the fact that Jesus actually lived and he actually died. And then Philo and Josephus, 2 first-century Jewish authors who actually said, yes, he was a miracle worker. He lived and he did these kind of things. Meaning none of this was done in secret. Go ahead and look it up. Look at the evidence. Jesus lived and he did things that nobody could explain. But it wasn't just that he did this. It was that he lived and died and something else happened. You see, Peter and the rest of his followers, they claimed to actually see Jesus alive again. Now, what you might say at this point is, if you're really skeptical and trying to come up with an alternative explanation, is that these guys, yeah, they might have been motivated by something else. And so they just made this story up to make themselves look good, maybe get money, power, fame. You know, like that's what happens, right? You do this kind of stuff. My question, though, is would you do any of that stuff if you were to lose everything? Because that's what happened. Like, watch this. These guys went from following Jesus for 3 years, and then when Jesus was arrested and put to the cross, all of them abandoned him because they certainly weren't expecting their Messiah figure, the one who's going to lead them to the promised land. They were not expecting this guy to then be brutally killed on a cross, and so they all rejected him, abandoned him, denied that he even existed, and then 2 days later, they went from scared and afraid and abandoning him to actually proclaiming him, being bold and courageous and telling people about Jesus and that he wasn't just a man, but actually God incarnate, but also losing close loved ones. People started dying because of what they believed. Now, my question is, would you be willing to keep telling something that you thought was a maybe, or maybe that you knew was a lie, if you started losing money, reputation, and all your friends that you cared about? The only reason you'd be motivated to do that, to keep telling the story and keep telling the story, is if it was true, that you actually saw it. And this is what they claimed. We saw him, and it changed everything. In fact, in Acts 4:20, this is what they said after they were confronted, and some of them were facing the threat of prison. Acts 4:20 says, as for us, we can't help speaking about what we've seen and heard. We can't. We saw it.